Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for hosting, for calling this hearing today. Commissioner, let me start with you. You know, I'm struck by the fact that these reports of scams with the SSA has displaced what was the most popular, most prevalent scam in recent years, which is IRS scamming. And so on that note, I'm just wondering, have you consulted with officials, you or your administration consulted with officials at the IRS to see what worked or didn't work for them in combating that very prevalent IRS scam in recent years?
Well, I guess we're the lucky ones now, Senator. You know, they've shifted to us. And as I said, I do believe that this is going to be expanded unless we can really do a good job in cutting it off. Yes, our people obviously have looked at other agencies, Justice Department, the Inspector General, of course, is working with other agencies, and so is our people. And a lot of the efforts that we are doing, various mailers, social media, all these efforts, you know, a lot of it is based on learning from other agencies.
Are there lessons in particular that stand out from the agencies that you've consulted with, whether it's the IRS, DOJ, or others?
I'm not sure of that. I know that this whole program that we've developed has been aided by other people's efforts in the area. So it's this is not something that we've invented completely on our own. It's a joint effort.
Senator, if you don't mind, I have something if I could add to
Please.
that. We have coordinated closely with the Treasury Inspector General's office and learned from their playbook. And the online form that the agency helped us develop was right out of their playbook. But I will say some of the other efforts they've done, which I don't want to reveal, worked for them. But the scammers are very inventive, and the minute something works, they change. And so we're sort of playing catch up a lot. So what worked then, it may not work again today. And so we're trying to always stay ahead of it, but it's difficult.
Very good, thank you. Ms. Ennis, while I have you, let me ask you a couple of questions. Let me go back to the subject of telecoms, which Senator Collins raised, which I thought was such an important topic. Is there more that we need to do, Congress needs to do, in order to enable partnerships, productive partnerships with the telecoms? They seem so vital to this.
Well, I do know, if you looked at the complaints yesterday, the telecoms, besides what I talked about with the major telecoms, what they were also helpful with was some of the major ones put on notice the companies that were the subject of the complaints yesterday, looking at the traffic and noticing certain patterns in the traffic and put them on notice. So they should continue, and hopefully will continue to do that, because notice is a helpful thing from a legal perspective. When companies do receive notice, then they can't say we didn't know. So they've been helpful in that regard too. I think, you know, I'm not an expert in the law related to telecoms, but I will say something I think to hold the gateways accountable would be something that we would look to, that they should know their customer, and call duration and hangups in huge volume, like we've seen with this, you'll see in the complaints, is a huge red flag. So they have to be charged with looking at the red flags and knowing who's behind that. And instead, it seems as though they are able to turn a blind eye. And so I would hope that you could look at that, and we'll be happy to provide any information we can, should you be able to do something in that regard.
That's very helpful. We'll follow up with you about that. Let me ask you finally, in my prior capacity as Attorney General of the state of Missouri, my office received numerous complaints about Social Security impersonation scams. I'm just wondering to what extent the Social Security Administration has or is coordinating with state attorneys general or other law enforcement officials.
Well, that's probably an area we should look into more, frankly. We've been partnering with other federal partners, but and there are many individual cases around the country where local law enforcement get involved, or local state attorneys generals, but we probably could do a better job at that, and thank you for identifying that as a place that we can partner up. But we're always looking for partners, as I said, to extend our forces, so we will look at that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair.